Former Pomperaug High School teacher, Mr. David Bass. I know this isn't his first time at Justice Southbury, but first time when I'm here, and I'm very excited to hear what he has to share with us today. Now, Mr. Bass was my teacher in high school, and he was an inspiration and role model both to me and my classmates. In fact, I organized my senior year class schedule around the class that he was teaching so that I would be able to have him as a teacher again. Even now, with a bachelor's degree and a master's degree on the way, if you ask me who my favorite teacher of all time is, I always say Mr. Bass. When I first took his class in 10th grade, I was inspired by his teaching style, his incredible knowledge of history, and his infectious enthusiasm for every subject we covered. Mr. Bass didn't just make the classes fun and the subject matter interesting, he challenged us to think critically and carefully, to delve deeper into the phenomena that we studied, and to understand why events took place in the past. He emphasized the importance of understanding history so that we can avoid it repeating itself, a lesson that feels more relevant every day. Mr. Bass has shaped my life in more ways than he probably knows. The skills he helped me develop and the passion he instilled in me for my education and for history have made me someone who desires to never stop learning and to always explore the hidden nuances behind the past, present, and future. It has been nearly a decade now since I sat in his classroom, and when Mr. Bass retired the year that I graduated, 2016, he graciously allowed his students to take home the posters that were displayed around his classroom. Many of these posters featured quotes and inspiration from great leaders and peace advocates, including Nelson Mandela, who said, "There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere." Standing at the corner every Sunday is not an easy walk, but is a testament to the movements that have shaped humanity throughout history, many of which I learned about from Mr. Bass. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming David Bass.
I think I'd like to meet this David Bass because, wow, that's really something. Thank you very much. Okay, well, oh, okay, how's that? Okay, I'll just have to read this thing. I don't have it memorized, I'm sorry, but good afternoon. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'd like to thank Rick for his kind invitation, offering an old school teacher the chance to reconnect with the Southbury community. Rick had asked me to reflect on what it means to be a patriot. Most Americans consider themselves to be patriotic, at least according to their own lights. And I thought we might give the concept some thought 3 days after the 4th. Back in the day when I was a young fellow in the early 70s, not my early 70s, but the early 1970s, you'd run across cars wearing the bumper sticker, "My country, right or wrong." That slogan was appropriated from the actual quote by Carl Schurz, the 19th century reformer, who had written, "My country, right or wrong, if right, to be kept right, if wrong, to be set right." G.K. Chesterton, who is no liberal, that's for sure, his take on "My country, right or wrong" was that it was a thing, quote, it was a thing that no patriot would think of saying except in a desperate case. It's like saying, "My mother, drunk or sober." So Schurz was an immigrant who came to the United States following the European revolutions that took place in 1848. He came here for reasons that we should all be proud of. The United States was built on the concept of equality, where all people are capable of logical thought and of promoting their individual and collective self-interest. The founders' views on race, class, and gender are completely offensive to us today. But evolutionary change was apparent to Schurz in the middle of the 1800s. Schurz, as with all immigrants, recognized that being an American was not based on blood or heritage, but on wanting to become an American. He was drawn by the fact that sovereignty rested and still rests with the people, that laws and leadership occur through a process that, while frustrating, attempts to be fair and hopefully just. In short, the United States is an experiment designed to appeal to the rational side of humanity. But I'm an old social studies teacher, and I like to read a lot of history, and I'm painfully aware of the evil that is also at the heart of the United States. The national wealth was built on both slavery and genocide. There's no way around it. Our predilection for guns and violence stemmed from the history of slave patrollers and the massacre of native peoples. We have suspended our liberties when it's been convenient, and we've indulged in violent forms of immigrant bigotry. The Know-Nothing Party, the treatment of the Irish, Chinese, Japanese, Italians, Jews, slavery, genocide, bigotry, violence, all are in contrast to our preferred understanding of ourselves. When William Lloyd Garrison tore up a copy of the U.S. Constitution during his speech on the 4th of July, or when Frederick Douglass made his famous speech on what the 4th of July means to a black person, audiences were forced to recognize these tensions. How are we to deal with the guilt, denial, and deep anger that many feel when reminded of the unvarnished nature of our history? It's the recognition of this tension that's at the heart of patriotism. A true patriot is someone who recognizes that our history is a fabric made up of threads of many colors, textures, and tones. A patriot comprehends the cost of racism on our country, and they understand the cost of bigotry and of misogyny. They see the price that our country pays for the poverty that traps so many young. A patriot is self-aware and understands their place in the American experiment. They know that the immigrant struggle may be the same as their grandparents. It's common to hear people disparage the term woke. I would say that it's the quality of being aware, of being honest. If you're a racist or a misogynist, you're hurting yourself as well as others. There's a serious cost that accompanies the society, a serious personal cost that accompanies the societal cost. Honest examination of your society as well as yourself can be painful, but it's the cost of patriotism. So how to do this? It's a matter of rejecting simplicity and embracing complexity, just as the old Enlightenment wig wearers had claimed us capable of doing. A simple historical narrative is compelling because, well, it's simple. It demands nothing, forgives everything, and it gives permission to continue the status quo. There are those who claim that the United States is the result of God's plan for humanity, that our country is a case of divine exceptionalism. This thinking reduces the old bumper sticker to "my country." Right. And that's not patriotism. That's just simple, ugly nationalism. Nationalism is based on the exclusion of people and truth, while patriotism is the embracing of them. And that's a tension that has existed throughout the history of our republic, perhaps never so much as today. That is our hard truth, one that we need to recognize again and again, excuse me, day after day. And so how to do this? Maybe by raising a glass to Frederick Douglass, to William Lloyd Garrison, to the people who have recognized truth and then bravely acted accordingly. Excuse me. And for us to study them and to learn from them, and then for all of us to do likewise, because that's the true nature of patriotism.